Ladies and gentlemen, whether you have watched many videos about chess or whether you just started your career in chess content consumption, there's something about chess that makes it so uniquely fascinating. It's that every single game you play doesn't repeat. You're in new territory by the time you've made some 10 moves. There are exceptions, but that's generally the way it goes. It's rare that you can have a chess playing career and encounter something you've never seen before, but that's exactly what I'll be showing you in this video. A little while ago, I played a game. Now, I'm 30 years old, and I've been playing chess for 25 years, and in this game, something happened that I've never, ever experienced before. 8 queens in one game. 8 queens. You start with 1. Then your other pawns can become queens. I'll be showing you the game in this video. Sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll just have a great time. Maybe you just, I don't know, really like to stare at my receding hairline. I don't know what makes these videos so entertaining for some of you, but I can promise you a very exciting game of chess. Now, in this game, my opponent was TJY Chess. Shockingly, that is not his legal name. That's not what it says on his passport. But it's his name abbreviated. This is Tin Jing Yao. And he's a Singaporean grandmaster. I think I've featured him on this channel before. We've played many games against each other online. This was a speed game. Now, I will show it to you. This game was nuts. So he opened with e4. This was part of a match that we played. You might be confused why my rating is 3,056. That's because I'm extremely good at chess and also really humble. This is my bullet rating, right? This is my the fastest time control that you can play, basically. And I do have a higher rating than many grandmasters, but that's, it's neither here nor there. Anyway, I played the French defense, and my opponent went like this. This is the classical French. Black has many options here: the Winnower variation, the potential Rubinstein variation, the classical variation with knight to f6. In this game, I played captures on e4, and then I played knight f6. I really like this French line. In fact, if you're looking for an opening and you're an intermediate or an advanced player, this immediate damaging of your structure is actually really effective. Like, it's shockingly effective. And what you do is you try to castle to the queen side. So you play moves like knight c6, b6, bishop b7, queen d7, you long castle. And then oftentimes when your opponent castles this way, you start some sort of an attack. And even though this is a bit strange, white doesn't really have any entrance points to your position. Now, my opponent is rated 3,000, so he will now demonstrate one of the most effective ways to play with white, which your opponents will not do. We both develop our knights, and now he plays this move g3. G3 is simply trying to play bishop to G2. There are some better ways to play here with white, but they're all a little tricky. It's not so easy to understand where this advantage comes from. Like you see now, the advantage is cut in half, and I strike the center with the move E5. Now, there is one variation here in particular with white that wins me many games. Many people make this mistake, and it is the move D5. I have many clips where people play D5, and then I just win very fast. My opponent went C3, and already black is better. Already black has an advantage on move 8, and that just kind of shows you the impact that this opening has. Apparently, the best line to play here is to trade everything in the center. I didn't really want to do that because I only have 1 second to make my decisions, and I thought I would be just leaving these 2 pawns like this, but actually if I trade everything and then get my bishops out, the computer likes the position for black. Look, I just developed the bishop, right? I pin the knight to the queen. I have ideas to move my queen here, and maybe long castle. My opponent went bishop e2, which blocks the pin, right? And so now I'm just thinking, okay, very easy, queen d7, and I'm going to long castle, which was my plan anyway. So Tin Jing Yao castles, and I castle. And we have a very imbalanced position. The position, according to the computer, is basically equal, but when you castle on opposite sides of the board, chaos is going to happen. There's not going to be a peaceful resolution. He's going to try to play b4, b5, a4, a5. I'm going to try to play h5, h4, and take his head clean off. Now, my next moves in this position are something like king b8. When you long castle, it's generally useful to play king b8 because you want to, defend all the pawns. Also, I'm looking at queen f5. I'm looking at h5, obviously, because I want to start some sort of an attack. Now, he actually blunders immediately. He plays queen b3, which just loses on the spot. Unfortunately, because this was a speed game, I wasn't expecting my very strong opponent to lose the game immediately. And so when he played the move queen b3, I was like, okay, I played h5. And as I played h5, which was my plan when I castled, I was like, oh my god, he just played just e4. Just e4 wins immediately because the knight is hanging. and he can't move the knight because then his bishop has no protection. The reason why e4 doesn't do anything in this position is he just moves the knight, and then the bishop is protected. So I remember like sitting here going, oh, I just missed a win because I just like wasn't expecting it. Now, granted, many things happen in speed chess games, and plus, had I played the move e4, you know, I would have won this game in like 15 moves, and we wouldn't have gotten in a game of 8 queens, right? So h5. Now, keep an eye on the pawns, right? There are 7 pawns remaining per player, so we have to keep in mind how we're going to be getting to 8 queens. Actually, the way it gets to 8 queens is, yeah, it's really nuts. So he goes pawn takes e5, and I play pawn takes e5, and still black has a very, very strong position. The reason for that is that white has not started the attack. Instead of queen b3, really, he should have played like bishop here and started attacking me with his pawns, because now what happens is my attack is just about to crack through. I'm going to open up the h-file. He doesn't have anywhere to hit in my position. e4 is still threatening to potentially win material, and I was feeling very good here. Now, he went bishop to g5. Now, bishop g5 is a very easy move, right? It attacks my rook, so I need to move my rook. That's pretty self-explanatory. Except e4 still wins. But again, when you're trying to make moves quickly, you know, I went bishop e7, and then he continued with his development. But it's kind of impressive how time is of the essence. Like, even though my rook is hanging, if I counterattack him with e4, it's very instructive, and he takes my rook, then I take on f3. So I'm threatening his bishop, and this bishop is not going anywhere. And that kind of shows you piece dynamics, right? Like, he's threatening my rook, but then his bishop will be standing there delicate, whereas I can create some more threats in the position. And if knight to d4, I take this, I threaten the queen, I threaten the bishop, and I am totally winning here. Bishop g4, I would take with the queen, his queen's hanging, and then I would go here, and I have an extra bishop. But none of this is important. You're here to see the 8 queens. So I went bishop e7, he went rook d1, and at this point it dawned on me like, uh-oh, he got all his pieces in the game, which was not supposed to happen, and I played queen f5. Queen f5 makes plenty of sense. I'm getting my queen out of the way of being attacked, and then when I go here, I threaten his knight, and I also threaten his bishop, right? So I'm threatening bishop takes and bishop takes f3, which I thought was very logical. He takes on e7, and now, instead of playing the move knight takes e7, I apparently should have started with rook takes d1. And the reason for this is, again, this bishop is not threatening anybody. If I play rook takes d1 in this position, and he plays rook takes d1, I ignore this bishop, and I simply take this knight. It's more important for me to get toward his king and leave the position with this bishop versus knight dynamic, because his bishop is not, it's not an imposing figure. It has to leave, and then the game proceeds. Like, I don't know what I would play here, but I would play something. But when you make decisions fast, right, I take on e7, and now Tin Jingyao starts outplaying me. He seizes this moment, right? He was under a lot of pressure just a few moves ago. He had no development. I was threatening an attack. Within just 2 or 3 moves, he gets out his bishop, he gets out his rook, he trades off my pieces, and he forces me to go backwards, and now he completely counters me. It looks like I have a lot of pressure, but he takes my rook, and now comes knight to h4, and I realize I'm in big trouble. I'm in big trouble because all of this is just running into a wall. I no longer have the opportunity to move my h-pawn. I no longer have a rook supporting my attack. He's also threatening me here. If I was a little bit smarter, I would have played something like queen f6, but you'll notice I'm not particularly smart, so I went here. Queen e4 just doesn't do anything. Queen e4 is a really bad move. I should have went queen f6, I should have went queen h7, to defend my pawn, and I still thought that I was the one attacking, but I am not the one attacking, and now there's queen f7. So I have 0 attack, I am a pawn down, and he is going to start promoting his pawns over here pretty soon. So I have to move my knight, I do, otherwise he was going to take me. And, you know, it's a weird position because I still have some vague hope, like if I teleport my knight there, if it gets into a little capsule and flies across the board, there is a way I could win. I mean, if he played like c4, I would play knight d4, and I would try to mate him, right? But that's not going to happen. Now here, he immediately goes to the endgame. He's a grandmaster after all, and I'm just a lowly, garbage international master. So he trades the queens with check, and he knows that my superpower is only being able to checkmate him, which I will now not do. He's going to go here, he's going to take my pawn, and he's going to just promote the g and h pawns. Now I can sit here and cry about it, which I will do after the game, but before I do that, I'm going to go for counterplay. Rook down to the 2nd rank. Endgame principles, you zip in with the rook, and you start creating some problems. He plays knight to e3. Okay, he plays knight to e3 in this position. Before I take on b2, I went for a trick, right? I was like, ooh, I mean, this is not going anywhere. What if here I play e4? The idea of e4 is very simple. I want to play knight e5 and knight f3, which is really extraordinarily stupid, because when he takes on g4, I don't even have the move knight e5 anymore. When I played the move e4, I thought, oh, I'm getting my knight into e5, getting my knight into f3. Instead, he takes and I take. And now he has a very simple plan. Very simple. Even you, playing this position with white, would be able to play this plan. Push the pawn down over here. A 2-year-old would be able to play this. By the way, shout out 2-year-olds. We got Chess for Babies here. It's the first ever copy. It comes out in March, all right? It's only $8.99. It's an amazing book. Very durable, high contrast. It's good for babies. I just accidentally clicked some shortcut on my computer and it darkened the screen. That was very fascinating. Anyway, you can check it out. Link is in the description. That was just a very organic plug. Now, he's just going to play h4. He begins playing h4. I don't know what to do, so I take his other pawn. He plays h5. I now have 3 moves until he queens, and nobody is there to stop him, which really shows you how big the board is, right? Because it just looks like I'm going to lose. So I play rook a5. Rook a5 makes plenty of sense. I attack the pawn, he plays h6, and I get back just in time to temporarily halt his movement. Now, the best plan for white here is to play king to g2, followed by rook to h1, and that's it. I'm dead. It's not going to work. Now, I have 2 options here with black. I can go and continue to try to defend the pawn, or I can start running my own pawn. He plays king g2, of course, he's a grandmaster. I bring my knight to e7, because at least maybe here I will temporarily prevent this pawn from queening. He plays rook h1, and I realize that I'm probably just going to lose. What's actually crazy is rook h1 is not the best move. The best move for white is to go rook e1, and then take on e4, and then I would be resigning just a few moves later, as I never got my counterplay going. Speaking of counterplay, this is a video about 8 queens, so you're about to see what's going to happen, and it's really going to blow your mind. So rook to h1 is what he plays. I mean, I just thought I'm going to lose, right? Takes, the pawn is going to promote, and then I'm like, okay, let me stop him. Why is it important that I play this move? Because if I just went for a counterplay, he would not play the move h7. He would know that I am going here. He would play knight to e5, and this is very important. This is a very important skill in chess, to know what your opponent is going to do. You both see the pieces. See, a lot of you play chess because you're beginners, and like every move your opponent makes that's good is like shocking to you. You're like, oh, I missed that, but it's there. You didn't have to miss it. And so, seeing that he was going to play knight e5, I played knight g6, and then I was like, wait a minute, what about my pawn? What about my pawn? I also have a pawn. And speaking of, I'm stopping his pawn. How is he stopping me? I actually thought I was winning here because I'm like, his knight is across the whole board. Hold your horses, Mr. GothamChess. That's what I call myself in the mirror. Knight e3, knight c2 is the idea. So he begins running back, and I'm like, okay, now I have 3 squares until I queen. So like this dude better come stop me. He goes king e2. I'm like 2 squares away from queening, right? That's the pawn that has the clearest path. Now he has to come back with the knight, and I play king to d7 because okay, like of course I can play a2, but we're gonna save that moment. Now I'm bringing my king to the middle of the board. He plays knight back to c2, and I play a2. Now my pawn and his knight are permanently tied together, because neither one of them can move. Okay, the plan should be very simple here. I should go and get to his knight, or maybe push my pawn. Now, he is trying to go here and push his other pawns, because my knight is also tied to the defense. So he goes king e3, I'm going to lose the pawn, I play king d6, and he takes on e4. His position is completely nuts. It's equal, by the way. This position is equal. He's threatening king to f5, at which point I will need to retreat into the corner, at which point he's going to come eat my horse. This man is gonna go king f6, king g7. So of course I can play king e6, right? Now I don't play king e6. I make a run for it with king to c5. I go king to c5. Now I'm thinking he's obviously, I mean, he doesn't have enough time to wander into the position because I'm just a couple of moves away. King c4, king c3, I'm already threatening the knight. So I'm just 4 moves away, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm closer to queening. So I'm thinking, okay, he's going to go king d3, and then Tin Jingyao plays king f5, and I'm like, ain't no way he is daring me in this position. So I go back to h8. I'm like, bring it on, like a boxer. You know, I step back. I'm like, let's go. He can play king f6, king g7. We are all in on the memes together. Now, the best move in this position is to play g4. It's not to go with the king. It's actually to go with the pawn. Why? Because 1, 2, 3, let's say, I mean, I don't know, 4, and then the pawn is still promoting. Whereas if he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like the second pawn together, the pawns will create the opportunity for 2 queens to appear. So apparently g4 is the way to go here. He goes king f6. And now we are in for it. And now happens the most crazy conclusion to a game of chess that I've ever been a part of. I go king c4. I'm thinking I'm winning. Computer thinks I am. King g7, king c3. Now, he can't just give me the knight, because if he gives me the knight, I queen in 2 moves. 1, 2. He needs to go to a1 so that I queen in 4 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's so important. Isn't it amazing? Just by moving the knight to the corner, just like me, we both protect A and H pawns with our knights. Now, both of us run our kings to the corner. Look at this. King b2, king h8, king a1, and he moves his king. It would have been way more epic if he had played king h7, by the way, just for the symmetry. Like, look at this position. When has this ever happened? I have played probably 500, 600,000 games of chess in my life, which is like 50 games a day for like 20 years, but definitely I've played that many because Bullet and Blitz and all these time controls. When do you ever see something like this? I'm still thinking I'm winning, but it's slowly setting in like, wait a minute, but we both have the same pawn, so how could I be winning? So he goes king g8, I go king b1, he goes here, I queen first, he queens. Now, the winning move in this position is queen a2 check, apparently. And the computer then gives a crazy line. Queen a2, let's say king g7. Now, it's not about taking f2. That's actually just the draw. Queen b2, king h7. Queen c2 if he goes back. Then I play queen c3. And then when he goes back again to the square, I play queen d3, and then king g7, and then queen d4, and then here, and then here. That's not the right move. No, this is also not the right move. Then I play c5. So the only way to win this position, this is just so crazy. The engine only gives one line here. This could actually be like a really high level study. Queen a2, and then my queen does what's called a ladder. It climbs a step ladder, like doot doot doot, you know, like and then doot doot doot, and then I get back to the middle, and I don't take his queen. I defend my queen with the move c5, and then I'm still threatening to promote, and I'm controlling his pawns from moving forward. Just otherworldly. But to come up with all of that with just like 20 seconds on the clock is probably not going to happen. So this game concludes very similar to, you know what I thought of? It's like 2 people crawling to their weapon at the end of a movie. You know, like the protagonist and the antagonist, they have this moment, they just like clash, and then both of their weapons go flying like Deathly Hallows, you know, Harry and Voldemort, and the wands, you know, drop to the ground, and then you just crawl on the ground, and then you get your wand. Now, take a look at this. Take a look at how this game ends. So I take his queen, right? So now we have 4 queens. And now we go c5, g4, c4, g5, c3, g6, c2, g7, queen, queen. And even here, I could have maybe played queen b2, but I went check, and he cross-checked me because this is a check back to me. We took, and it's time for the final act of the video. b5, f4, b4, f5, b3, f6, b2, f7, king moves, and we both make our 4th queen. Half of our pawns basically became queens in this game. Crazy, 3 out of 8. Oh my goodness, I never had a game like this. I never had a game where at some point throughout the game, there were 8 different queens. It's like mind-blowing, you know? And obviously here, we could have maybe tried to beat each other on time. He made a king move, but I went here, and then we traded, and the game ended in a draw. Just a totally ridiculous game of chess. I've never ever found myself in a situation where 3 pawns on a side of a board can promote, and both of our kings have walked the entire distance forward. Because the thing is, when you castle, you know, games don't really go to the endgame. And this clearly shows that if you castle on opposite sides and you're throwing pieces at each other and the apocalypse is survived, you're just left with the king and pawns, and the king and the pawns just move. They don't interact at all. You know, they just move forward. Now I was winning in the opening, and then he was winning for like 7 or 8 moves. Instead of trading my rook, he needed to centralize his rook. And this would have been a very easy win for him because I just don't have sufficient defense of my position. But by trading the rooks, he underestimated my counterplay. I mean, it just didn't feel like I had anything going here, but I was pretty clutch with my defenses, and there you go. I mean, what an epic conclusion to the game with our kings and our pawns. And maybe you clicked on the video and expected there to be 8 queens on the board at the same time, but that's kind of unrealistic. And to be honest with you, if there are ever like 6 or 7 or 8 queens on the board at the same time, it's just like, I think the players are complicit in rigging the game. It's very rare in history that that has ever happened, but it has. There are some like lists of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're a baby, you can look at Chess for Babies. Yeah, you know the drill already. Get out of here.